This is the afternoon weather briefing. This is for Saturday, the 28th of December. This is James Spann. Of course, we're focused on the chance of severe thunderstorms across the southern states and a few tornadoes for the next 18 hours. This could be a relatively high impact event, especially for areas west of Alabama concerning tornadoes. I really think for Alabama, the main threat will be late tonight from strong, perhaps widespread damaging straight line winds. So needless to say, got a lot to talk about, so sit back and strap in. Again, we're live at 12:45 this afternoon, and this is the current radar. This is coming out of Jackson, and you can see a pretty large rain mass, and this is just junk convection here. There's nothing severe going on through parts of East Mississippi and West Alabama, and quite frankly, this is a good thing. Not severe. You got thunder, lightning. It's raining heavily in spots, but if we can see a good bit of rain this afternoon, that can mitigate the amount of instability we see later tonight. And surface-based instability is one of the ingredients needed for severe storms. But again, you can see that rain covering a pretty good chunk of the western third of Alabama. And again, nothing severe. We do note that we have one active tornado warning that's out of Houston. And again, that's really how far away the dynamic support is. That's a pretty nasty-looking storm right there. In fact, let's look at the velocity. And again, that's a supercell storm about 45 miles northeast of downtown Houston. And again, that's moving northeast in that part of Texas and the adjacent parts of Louisiana under a tornado watch as we speak. But again, things are relatively quiet around here other than that big rain mass over on the western side of the state. And quite frankly, we don't expect any severe storms for the next several hours. If we see any severe storms this afternoon, it would be really late and really near the Mississippi border, and even that's a little iffy. I really think for a pretty good chunk of the state, the main threat of severe storms will be late tonight, initially around 9, 10 o'clock on the western side of the state. Here's a look at temperatures, and again, they're starting to come up. We got a little sun over the southern part of the state. Again, this is the visible satellite view, and you can see a little window of clearing over parts of south and southwest Alabama. Mobile, Baldwin counties, up toward Monroeville, Evergreen, getting a little sun, but the rest of the state is socked in with clouds. And again, any sunshine this afternoon should be fairly limited. This is the regional radar view, combining all the radars across the Deep South. And again, we're live here at 12:47. And nothing severe on that map. We've got thunderstorms in parts of Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, West Alabama. But again, the main severe weather threat will be coming later. So there's basically been not much change at all in the new outlook issued by the Storm Prediction Center late this morning. They issue an update at 10:30 Central Time, and this is the 10:30 update. And again, you can see a level 4 out of 5 risk through much of central Mississippi, parts of east and northeast Louisiana, and the southeast corner of Arkansas. That's a level 4 out of 5 risk, a level 3 out of 5 risk over almost to Interstate 65, a level 2 out of 5 risk for the rest of the state. This is the probabilistic outlook for tornadoes. And what you're seeing here, this is the probability of a tornado within 25 miles of a given point. And in the red, that probability is 15 to 29%. And remember, tornadoes are pretty small, so that's a very meaningful number. In the yellow, that level 3 out of 5, the chance of a tornado within 25 miles of a point is 10 to 14%. And then for East Alabama, the chance drops down to 5 to 9%. And again, we note the hatched area, that hatched zone there in the yellow and red. That means there could be a strong tornado involved. And by definition, that's EF2 or higher. But again, I really think for most of Alabama, this is the main concern, damaging straight line winds in that squall line late tonight. This is the probability of severe wind, and by definition, severe wind is 58 miles per hour or greater. And you can see that in that red in West Alabama, the chance of damaging wind within 25 miles of a given point is 30 to 44%. That's pretty meaningful. In fact, if you cross over into Mississippi in that purple there, the probability there is 45 to 59%, almost 50-50. So again, we're just going to have to watch that squall line coming through here. And then after 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, any lingering storms over southeast Alabama should be out of here very quickly. They might linger until 7 a.m., but There's a pretty good chance by 6, 7 o'clock as the sun comes up, storms are gone. So let's go through the modeling here. This is the high-resolution HRRR, valid this evening at 6 o'clock Central Time. And again, these are convection-allowing, really high-resolution models, and they typically are pretty good. And the HRRR is suggesting that we'll have rain falling over parts of northwest Alabama, northwest of Birmingham. And again, that's a good thing. We like to see that. Just a big rain mass like that could, again, mitigate the instability for that main line. You can see the main line approaching the Mississippi River this evening at 6 o'clock. And that's the line that will be coming through Alabama during the late night and pre-dawn hours. So let's jump ahead to 10 o'clock tonight. And that line is knocking on the door. It's basically on the Alabama-Mississippi state line. And notice it's bowed out to some degree. And typically when you see that kind of thing, that's a line echo wave pattern. The greatest chance of damaging wind is in the apex of that bow, but the entire line will certainly pack a punch. And traditionally with a linear system like that, when everything's in a line, the main issue, it's damaging straight line winds, not necessarily tornadoes. But having said that, there could be an embedded tornado or two in there. Let's look at the severe weather parameters. This is the surface-based CAPE tonight, 10 o'clock, as the line approaches West Alabama. And there's none for Northeast Alabama. This is great if you're in Gadsden, Scottsboro, Fort Payne, Huntsville, Gunnersville. You got to have a little surface-based instability for severe storms, and there just isn't any. And a lot of that has to do with a wedge front, some cooler air that's gotten in there from the northeast. And oftentimes that wedge is hard to displace. So hopefully the wedge holds. And if you're in northeast Alabama, you just get some noisy, breezy thunderstorms late tonight. But there is some surface-based instability for the rest of the state. And it doesn't take a lot in the cool season for severe storms. This is the SRH, the storm relative helicity, and this is where there's really no question. This is a very dynamic system with very strong wind fields. The dynamics are very impressive. The thermodynamics a little iffy. And the STP, and again, this is a composite index. This is the significant tornado parameter. And you can see it tonight at 10. The higher STP values are across the southwestern part of the state, where the tornado threat could be a little higher. And as you go farther north, the main threat would be from damaging straight-line winds. So once again, let's go back to the projected radar. This is what it should look like around 10 o'clock tonight. Then by 1 a.m., just after midnight, 1 hour after midnight, that line is racing through Huntsville, Birmingham, Brent, Demopolis, with a chance of strong damaging straight-line winds. And again, I've seen many of these like this, and these are really hard to work in the middle of the night. They're not fun as people are trying to get to sleep, but this has potential to knock down a whole lot of trees and disrupt a lot of power, so keep that in mind. And then by 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, that line is across the southeastern counties of the state, coming through Eufaula and Dothan. And again, it should be out of the state by 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. This is the updraft helicity product. And again, I hesitate to show this because it can be misleading, but this is not where tornadoes will form and touch down, but this is where rotating updraft potential could be maximized. And you can see the really big numbers are over Louisiana. And that's where some of the long track tornadoes could be. But again, we've got some rotational possibilities across Alabama. And again, clearly there could be a few tornadoes tonight, no doubt about that. But again, I just think the main concern is from strong damaging straight line winds. And again, this is the timing graphic from the Weather Service in Birmingham, and they open it up at 3 o'clock over West Alabama. I'm just not so sure we'll see any problems that early, especially with it raining and it's cool and stable on the western side of the state. But as always, we'll watch things. But I really think the main problem will be from about 10 o'clock, 9, 10 o'clock tonight on the western side of the state, wrapping up tomorrow morning about 6, 7 o'clock around Dothan. It'll be a late night, pre-dawn hour kind of thing. So in terms of the call to action, again, we've talked about this a lot. This is the baseline. Hopefully you have one, a weather radio. And if you don't, if you use your phone exclusively, that's okay. But be sure that you have wireless emergency alerts enabled. Where's my phone? Right here. Go into settings and notifications and check emergency alerts and be sure that's enabled. That's that loud tone out you get. It's not involved in an app. Every phone sold in the United States has that. And you get tornado warnings, high-end flash flood warnings, and amber alerts. So have that enabled. And then know your safe place. In the safe place, what are you going to have? Helmets for everybody, including adults. Most people that are seriously hurt in tornadoes, it is blunt force trauma above the shoulders. And by putting on an inexpensive bike helmet, if your kids play sports, a batting helmet, football helmet, motorcycle helmet, that really, really makes you safe. And of course, if you live in a mobile home, you've got to know where you're going. You can't stay there during a tornado warning polygon. Where are you going to go if it's midnight or 1 a.m.? How do you get there? Do you have transportation? What's the fastest way? And another thing we're really trying to promote here, you can help us in a big way. You can be a hero, literally be a hero. You can reach some people that we cannot reach. These are folks that are friends, family members that just don't pay attention to weather. And again, I'm not faulting them. I mean, we're all busy. I don't pay a lot of attention to a lot of things. But if you know of someone that's in a polygon where the weather is really dangerous, call them or text them and let them know. And you can certainly play a big role in the process here. All right, so one more time, let's go back to the radar. We're live at 12:55 on Saturday afternoon. And again, you can see that we've got this big, massive rain on the western side of Alabama. In fact, we'll just take a closer look at that. It's just pouring right now in Pickens, Greene, Sumter, Marengo, Choctaw counties. There's some heavier rain falling in Greene and Marengo counties from Forkland right down Highway 43 down through Demopolis, Providence, and Linden. Again, nothing severe. But remember, thunder doesn't make a storm severe. Heavy rain doesn't make a storm severe. It's exclusively damaging wind and large hail. Those are the two criteria for severe storms. And again, that's really a good thing. You just, again, that's... I know it's not pleasant, but that really will help to keep the air somewhat stable, and just maybe that will help in a mitigation process of kind of reducing the instability we see later this evening. So, again, if you're in West Alabama, you're dealing with that. But again, we stress there's nothing severe by classic definition. And again, this is the radar coming out of Jackson, and you can see storms across the Delta, Mississippi Delta, Greenville, up toward Cleveland, Clarksdale. Again, not severe. And you really have to go back into Texas to find any tornado warnings at this point. We note a couple of tornado warning polygons out of the Weather Service in Houston with this line here, and that's a sign of how far away the dynamics are. Like there's a tornado warning that includes the community of Alvin, Texas, which is located due south of Houston. And there's another tornado warning polygon to the northeast of Houston. And this will be evolving into Louisiana and then ultimately Mississippi and Alabama. And we just think this will be rolling into a long line of storms. And again, if you're just joining us, this is what the radar should look like about 10 o'clock tonight. This is 1 a.m. after midnight, and this is 6 a.m. So within that line, just be aware it's going to be kind of a rough ride. And the encouragement also here is to pay attention to severe thunderstorm warnings. A lot of people don't, and I fully understand that. A lot of that's our fault in the weather enterprise. We have too many severe thunderstorm warnings, too many false alarms, and people just don't pay attention. But I would certainly pay attention tonight in that if a tree is going to come on your house, does it matter if it's a tornado or straight line winds? It really doesn't. You just need to be in a safe place. And in a night like tonight, I would almost suggest if you get into a severe thunderstorm warning polygon, you might want to be in kind of a safe place as if it's a tornado warning. And again, that's mainly for the possibility of falling trees that could be happening late tonight. So again, that's going to wrap it up for this update. Again, we'll be in the weather office, obviously, at the TV station soon. And should we need to go into wall-to-wall coverage, we'll do that. Hopefully that will not be needed until late tonight. It might be 9, 10 o'clock tonight before that's needed. And hopefully it's not needed at all. But if it is, we'll be there. And again, you can watch us if you're in the Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, Anniston, Gadsden market on ABC 3340. Television, free over the air. You don't need an internet connection. But we also stream it live on the ABC 3340 YouTube channel and their Facebook page. And for warnings that are not in the Birmingham television market, when I can, I'll go live here. We're simulcasting this on my YouTube channel and the James Spann Facebook page. So, and again, this is nothing unusual. Guys, I know a lot of folks have weather anxiety. This is pretty common for December. Our tornado season here, November through May. November through May. This is when they happen. And we've had events like this many, many times in the past. We'll have it many, many times in the future. We'll get through it together just fine. And do I even want to show this? This is also creating a lot of buzz. These are temperature anomalies coming off the American global model toward mid-January. And I think it's clear that the pattern looks really cold in mid-January. Now, everybody wants to know, we're going to have snow and ice. I don't know that. Could we? Sure. Maybe not, but whatever. I'm just telling you, it looks cold out there in mid-January. Once we get past this storm event tonight, we'll focus more on that. So again, thanks for watching. And again, if needed, we'll be on the air this evening on ABC 3340. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great weekend, and God bless.